Level 1, the civilian. You find the address on a scrap of paper. A recruitment bureau on a grey street in Paris, the sign small, the door unremarkable. You are 20 years old. You have a name you are thinking about leaving behind. You have a country that has not worked out the way you expected. You have a reason for being here that you will never fully explain to anyone, including yourself. The man at the desk looks at you the way customs officials look at people, not hostile, not warm, measuring. He asks why you want to join. You give the answer you prepared. He writes something down and does not respond to it. You are told to return in 3 days with nothing but identification and the clothes on your back. You do not sleep well in those 3 days. You return anyway. Level 2, the engage volontaire. They process you at Aubagny, in the south of France, where the Legion has its headquarters and its history. The buildings are white under a hard Provençal sun. They take your documents. They run background checks through Interpol. They give you a medical examination that covers every bone and organ you possess. They ask you again why you want to join. There are 200 men in the selection pool. They come from 40 countries. Some speak no French. Some speak nothing else. Most fall somewhere between. At night, you sleep in barracks bunks and say very little to anyone. During the day, they test you. Psychometric assessments. Physical evaluations. A 10-kilometer run in under 50 minutes. Pull-ups, push-ups, sit-ups recorded on clipboards by men who do not tell you whether you passed. By the end of the second week, the pool has dropped to 60. You are still in it. They call your name and hand you a contract. 5 years. You sign with whatever name you choose to use. Some men invent one entirely. The Legion permits this. It is, in part, built for it. Level 3, the recruit at Castelnaudary. Farm country. Flat land and dust and the smell of diesel. The 4th Foreign Infantry Regiment is where the Legion makes Legionnaires, and it does this with 15 weeks of unrelenting pressure applied in a consistent direction. They wake you at 0500 every morning. They march you in boots that have not yet softened. The first week, your heels split open. You wrap them and keep walking. You learn French, mandatory for all recruits regardless of origin, 4 hours of class per day in addition to physical training, weapons familiarization, and instruction in the Code of Honor. The code is not metaphor. You memorize it in the language you are still learning and recite it in formation. Chaque Legionnaire est ton frère d'armes. Every Legionnaire is your brother in arms. You repeat this alongside a former schoolteacher from Ukraine, a carpenter from Brazil, an accountant from South Korea. None of you know each other. By week 6, you know each other better than you know your own families. Route marches increase in distance and weight. By week 12, you cover 120 kilometers in 4 days with a 35-kilogram pack. Your knees announce themselves in ways they never did before. You finish. At the graduation ceremony on the parade ground at Castelnaudary, they put a white Kepy on your head. The Kepy Blanc is the Legion's most recognized symbol, and you earned it on a dust-covered road in southern France, bleeding into your boots. You are a Legionnaire now. You are not yet anything more. Level 4, the young Legionnaire. Your regiment is the 2nd Foreign Infantry, deployed to Djibouti. The Horn of Africa in August reaches 48 degrees Celsius by midday. The base sits at the edge of the Gulf of Aden and the air smells of salt and heat and something older than either. Your section patrols the border region. The terrain is rock and thorn scrub, and it gives you nothing, no shade, no cover, no landmarks that distinguish one ridge from another. You carry 28 kilograms of equipment. You walk. Your corporal is a Romanian named Desai who has been in the Legion for 9 years and speaks with an economy that suggests he said everything worth saying long ago. He does not encourage you. He corrects you. There is a difference, and you begin to understand it. On your 3rd month, a patrol makes contact near the Ethiopian border, armed men, affiliation unclear, crossing in a direction they should not be crossing. The engagement lasts under 2 minutes. Your rifle functions. Your training functions. Afterward, you sit against a rock wall in the heat and eat a field ration that tastes like cardboard salted with dust. Nothing about the next hour resembles the movies you watched as a younger man. A local interpreter named Abdi helps your section with follow-up questioning of witnesses. He is 30 years old and has 3 daughters and speaks 4 languages and trusts you slightly more than he trusts the last unit that was here. That trust costs him something. You are aware of this. You do not have the French to say so yet. Level 5, the caporal. You re-enlist for a second 5-year contract. You are 26. You have been promoted to caporal and transferred to the 2nd Foreign Parachute Regiment at Calvi, on the island of Corsica. The base sits above the sea on limestone cliffs. The training is structured around rapid intervention. The regiment deploys at short notice to crisis points across the French sphere of operations in Africa and the Middle East. You complete the military parachutist course. Static line jumps from 350 meters, then free fall qualification at altitude. Your first free fall, the air at 4,000 meters is cold enough to burn your face above the oxygen mask. You are responsible now for 4 younger legionnaires. You correct them the way Desai corrected you, with precision rather than volume. You deploy to Mali as part of Operation Barkhane, the French counterterrorism operation across the Sahel. The Sahara at 0300 is a different country than at noon. Cold, open, and so quiet that radio static sounds like a disruption. Your section is tasked with reconnaissance along a known logistics route used by JNIM-affiliated fighters. You walk 40 kilometers in 18 hours. You find a cache, 60 kilograms of ordnance and 3 motorcycles, and call in the location. You never see who collects the intelligence or what follows from it. That is how the work functions. You do your portion and step back, and the larger machine uses what you produced. Whether it uses it correctly, you have no way to verify. You eat your ration. You walk the next sector. Level 6, the caporal-chef. You have been in the Legion for 8 years. You know its procedures the way you know your own respiration, without attention, automatically. You are caporal-chef now, mid-level in the enlisted structure, experienced enough to be given the harder tasks, not yet senior enough to shape the decisions that assign them. You return to Africa. This time to the Central African Republic, where French forces operate alongside a UN mission in a country whose stability has been theoretical rather than real for years. The capital, Bangui, has functioning markets and broken infrastructure and armed groups that shift affiliation depending on the week. Your section operates in the interior, embedded with a Congolese battalion that has received training but not yet the things that training cannot give. A man on your left is named Lieutenant Moise, a Congolese officer, 28 years old, careful and observant. A man on your right is a legionnaire from Poland named Henrik who has been in the Legion for 6 years and loses weight on every deployment because he refuses to eat field rations without hot water, which is not always available. You operate for 3 months. One night, a patrol returns a man short. A legionnaire named Ferreira, Portuguese, 24 years old, who had a photograph of his mother taped inside his pack cover. An ambush on a track that intelligence had rated as low risk. He was the point element. He did not survive the first contact. You write the report. The report uses approved language. The approved language fits into boxes on a form. None of the boxes are large enough for what actually happened. You submit it. The machine receives it. The deployment continues. Level 7, the Sergeant. 10 years in. You have a rank now that carries institutional authority. Sergeant, the first true NCO grade in the Legion structure. You manage younger men the way the Legion has always managed younger men, by demanding precision and withholding comfort. You are stationed at the 3rd Foreign Infantry Regiment in French Guiana, in the jungle. The humidity here is not a condition. It is a presence. It settles into your clothing and equipment and never entirely leaves. You run jungle warfare training for a new intake of legionnaires, men with 3 months of service who have not yet learned what the forest costs. You take them through navigation, survival, close-terrain movement, contact drills. One of them, a German named Brandt, has exceptional physical capability and poor judgment. You spend more time on Brandt than the others, not because you like him but because capable men with poor judgment are the kind that gets people killed. By the end of the cycle, Brandt's judgment has improved to adequate. That will do. Your company deploys to French Polynesia for a joint exercise with Australian forces. You spend 8 days on an atoll conducting amphibious training. One evening, the sun drops into the Pacific in a way that produces colors you do not have names for. You eat a field ration on the beach. You have eaten field rations in 11 countries. This is the best location for it. You write nothing about this in any report. Level 8, the Adjutant-Chef. You are 33 years old. Your file shows 13 years of service, for overseas deployments in active operational theaters, 1 commendation for action in Mali, and 1 administrative note about an incident in Bangui that was reviewed and closed. You are Adjutant-Chef now. You are the man the younger NCOs come to when they have a problem they cannot take upstairs. A legionnaire in your section named Vasek, Czech, 27, has been waking before 0400 every morning and sitting outside the barracks in full kit without explanation. You sit with him one night. He does not speak much. He does not need to. You have seen this kind of silence before. You arrange a referral through the medical structure. You do this discreetly, Because the culture requires discretion, and the culture is what it is, and you are not going to change the culture, but you can manage around it. You deploy to Lebanon with a French multinational force advisory element. Beirut is a city that has been rebuilt so many times that the layers of reconstruction are visible in the walls, different colored concrete, mismatched stone, decades of repair stacked on top of each other. Your counterpart in the Lebanese armed forces is a major named Rami, who is meticulous and politically careful and carries the weariness of a man who has spent his career navigating between forces that each want something from him. You spend 4 months working together. You trust him within certain parameters. He trusts you within different ones. This is the operational reality of advisory work, and neither of you pretends otherwise. Level 9, the Adjutant. 15 years of service. The adjutant grade is the Legion's institutional memory, walking around in a uniform. Officers rotate. Senior NCOs like you remain. You know procedures that exist nowhere in the written manuals. You know which supply sergeant to call for equipment that is technically unavailable. You know how the Legion actually functions, as opposed to how it is documented. You are posted to the Legion's headquarters at Aubagny for a 2-year administrative assignment. You oversee the integration process for new recruits. You sit across the desk from men the age you were when you first walked into a bureau on a gray street. You look at them the way the man looked at you. You write something on a form. You tell them to return in 3 days. On Sundays, you walk the memorial courtyard at Aubagny where the names of the Legion's dead are engraved in stone. You have stopped reading the names individually. There are too many now that belong to men you knew. You walk the perimeter in the early morning when the courtyard is empty, and the only sound is your own footsteps on the stone. Your mother, who never fully understood where you had been for 15 years, sends you letters with photographs of her garden. You have not been home in 4 years. You write back. You do not explain where you have been or what you were doing. She stopped asking 6 years ago. Level 10, the Adjutant-Chef and Veteran. You retire at 21 years of service. The Legion holds a small ceremony. Your commanding officer reads a citation. Several men you served with in Djibouti, Mali, and Lebanon are present. Afterward, someone takes a photograph that you will not look at for several years. You move to a town in the south of France, not far from Castelnaudary. You chose it because you know the roads and the landscape and because familiarity is its own form of rest. You have a small house with a garden. In the mornings, you sit outside with coffee and watch the light come up across the flat country. The birds are loud at dawn here. You had not noticed that before. You are 41 years old. Your knees are the knees of a man 20 years older. Your left shoulder, injured in a fall during a jump at Calvi in your 8th year, has a limited range of motion that the doctors say will not improve. You carry tinnitus from a detonation in Mali that no one ever formally logged. You see a physician every 3 months. You take the prescriptions. You walk every morning because the alternative is worse. The men you served with are scattered. Desai, your corporal from Djibouti, retired to Romania. You exchanged contact information and have not used it. Henrik from the CAR deployment sends a message twice a year, always brief, always functional. He is doing well or he is not, and either way the message does not ask for anything. Ferreira's mother sent you a letter 4 years after his death, forwarded through Legion administration. She had found your name in the official condolence record. She asked what he was like in his final months. You spent 2 weeks writing a response. You told her the truth about the photograph of her inside his pack cover. You told her he was careful and he was reliable and the men in his section trusted him. You did not describe the track or the intelligence assessment or the approved language on the form with the boxes that were not large enough. She wrote back once more. She thanked you. You put her letter in the drawer with the commendation from Mali and the certificate from your parachutist qualification. The shadow box with your decorations sits on a shelf in the second bedroom. The Médaille Militaire. The Croix de la Valeur Militaire with a citation attached that describes a certain action in language so procedural it could be describing the movement of furniture. The service medal with 6 clasps, each clasp a theater a year or more of your life. Civilians see decorations and think of the ceremonies. You see them and remember the weight of the pack on a given day, the temperature, the name of the man walking beside you, whether he is still alive. Most of them are. Several are not. You attend the funerals you can reach. You sit in the church and hold the program and do not always make it through the recitation of the service record without your hands tightening on the paper. In the autumn, you are asked to speak at the annual ceremony at the Legion's Memorial at Aubagny. You stand at the podium in civilian clothes. You look at 200 young men in Kepy's blanks. Their faces carry the expression of men who have completed the first threshold and do not yet know what comes after it. You speak for 12 minutes. You tell them the Legion is a transaction, it takes what you have and returns something different, and you will not know for years whether you got the better end of it. They listen. They will not understand it yet. You did not understand it when someone said something similar to you 30 years ago in a different courtyard. After the ceremony, you shake the hands of young legionnaires on their way out. One of them is perhaps 22 years old. He has the look of a man who arrived with a reason he will never fully explain to anyone, including himself. He shakes your hand and does not hold it too long and walks out into the Provençal sun toward whatever comes next. Somewhere in Paris, on a grey street, a bureau with a small sign has a door that opens every morning. A man who is not yet done with wherever he came from walks through it. He has a reason. He has a name he may be thinking about leaving behind. He does not know what a 35-kilogram pack feels like across 120 kilometers. He does not know the names he will learn and lose. He does not know what the heat in Djibouti does to a man by the third month, or what the silence in the Sahara costs at 0300, or what it is to write a report in boxes that are not large enough. He will find out. Or he will not make it far enough to find out. Either way, the bureau opens. The man at the desk measures him. Something is written on a form. He is told to return in 3 days. He will. The cycle does not stop because one man completed it. The light comes up over the flat country in the south of France, and you drink your coffee, and the birds are very loud, and you let them be.